An Essex village is witnessing a tragic multiple funeral. 5 members of a wealthy family have been found dead in their own home after a frenzied gun attack. The police think that one of the dead committed the murders before killing herself. Jeremy Bamber was the only surviving member of the family. On the night of the murders, he contacted the police. He said his father had just phoned him, screaming that his sister was running amok with a gun. Police arrived to find an horrific scene. Both of Bamber's parents had been shot. His sister Sheila was also dead, and her twin 6-year-old sons had been shot in their beds.
When I went to the mortuary and entered the post-mortem room, what I saw before me actually shocked me a great deal. There were 5 people lying on post-mortem tables, and 2 of them were children, very young children.
I arrived at Jeremy's house to be met by my sister Anne at the door, to be told, "Be brave, David, be brave for Jeremy." And she told me of how all the family had been shot. I couldn't take it in to begin with. And I thought I heard 4 of them were shot and that Sheila was still alive, and then Anne repeated it again. And I took it in the second time.
Jeremy Bamber told police that his sister Sheila had a history of mental illness and was prone to violent rages. The investigators believed him and assumed that she had committed the murders and then killed herself.
I think everybody was bending over backwards. Felt sorry for him, actually. They'd lost all his family, and everybody was trying their best to make it as easy for the funeral arrangements to take place, to enable him to have the burials quickly, that sort of thing.
Because the police assumed this was a suicide killing, they'd not done a thorough search of the scene. But Bamber's cousin couldn't believe that Sheila would ever kill her children. So he and other relatives searched the house for clues that would point in another direction.
We were just hunting for a needle in a haystack.
And you found it?
We found it. We found it.
They found a silencer in a gun cabinet. When it was dismantled, there were spots of Sheila's blood inside it. This meant the gun had been used with the silencer attached and returned to the cabinet after she had been shot. How could she have shot herself twice and put the silencer away afterwards? A ballistics expert examined the murder weapon. He cast doubt on whether it was physically possible for Sheila to have shot herself with what was a very long gun.
The 2 shots that were fired at Sheila Caffel, the particular trajectories that were needed can be demonstrated like this. The first one we're looking at is the one in through the front of the throat. Having got the gun in approximately the right position for the trajectory of that shot, you then need to try and stretch down to press the trigger. The difficulty basically is having enough reach to actually be able to press the trigger and to keep the neck and the head in the right orientation. It's just a long gun.
It now became obvious to the police that the cousin had been right. They were looking in the wrong direction. Bamber had fooled them all.
It seems that we were led up the garden path, quite literally, on this one. And it really took a little while before circumstances began to unfold and the true story came out.
By now, Bamber was on an extravagant trip around Europe, spending some of the £400,000 he'd just inherited. When he returned to Britain, he was arrested immediately. Under increasing pressure, he remained arrogantly self-assured. He still blamed Sheila for the crime, but he couldn't explain how her blood had got into the silencer in the gun cabinet. Meanwhile, his ex-girlfriend had gone to the police with an astonishing revelation. She said Bamber had told her of his plan to kill his family.
I remember one occasion in particular when he said to me with quite a lot of vehemence that he'd get rid of all of the family, including Sheila and the boys, and he would do so by shooting them if he were going to do it. And at that stage I asked him not to say things like that. I was particularly upset.
Bamber was convicted of the 5 murders. At the trial, an horrific picture emerged of him systematically massacring his own family.
He got into the house. He didn't break in, as far as I'm aware, and then confronted the members of the family. Certainly confronted his stepfather, because there's evidence that they struggled together. And then went just around in turn killing the rest of the family, and then taking Sheila into the position, or maybe even leading her into the position near the bed and putting her down there before killing her.
He had killed his entire family for money. He had fooled the police early in the inquiry, and the investigators learned an important lesson from their mistake.
This case was certainly unique in my experience as a forensic pathologist, because it showed me what the mind of a cool-calculated person could get up to, and how the police could be fooled initially into going down the wrong road.
I can't forgive him. Maybe I can forget, but I don't think I can forgive.